Hello, and welcome back to Therapist Plays Disco Elysium. Okay, so like I mentioned, this episode just continues right in from the last recording, where we sort of finished things off with this part of Kuno's story, and now we're going to finish out Mr. Morel and Lena's story altogether. And I'm really glad that as we work towards the end of the game, we're looking for some closure to some of these storylines, because this one was really meaningful to me. I think that Lena and Mr. Morel are quite unique among Disco's characters because they represent a kind of optimism against a somewhat darker background. So yeah, this was an interesting end to their story. I'm excited to share my thoughts on it with you all, so let's jump in.
Hello, officer. I think I almost have it. A new trap design, that is. I know you're skeptical, but I have a good feeling about this.
If we can get the two of them, are either of you interested in having two young children in your lives? I had a chat with this kid Kuno. He promised to stop stealing the locusts.
So it was just a child.
Thank you for telling us, sweetie. This is good news, right? It means we can try again.
Something is secretly gnawing at her confidence. It's not this Kuno kid or the missing locusts. It's something else.
Yeah, you're right. We just need to restock the empty trap. Then we'll need to inspect the traps one more time. And then maybe we can.
Darling, I told you to take it easy. You're getting sick. Maybe it's time to go home.
You're right. We can come back next season when it's warmer.
There won't be a next season. Not for this. Find a phasmid or admit defeat, people.
Man, I'm really feeling this is costing me time on my main investigation. Absolutely not. This is the main investigation. It's helping people. It's not worth risking your help. I'd offer to help, but I have my own things to do. I can restock. We've come too far to quit. Why not? We can be enthusiastic.
We are getting really carried away with this, aren't we? Fine, it's better than having these people get pneumonia on the coast. But after this...
Oh, don't worry, Kim. After this, there will be much more tangents.
Really? It's too much, officer.
What Morel means is we're grateful for your help.
Here's a fresh batch of locusts. They should slide right down the funnel. And thank you again. We will definitely mention you, should this lead to a discovery. I'm not talking co-discovery, of course, but...
Oh, okay.
Wow. Co-discovery. You'd be famous. You'd show them all. This does tingle the pleasure center. This would show them all. We need to get you on that list of discoverers. No question about that.
Intrusive thoughts. Oh my god. Authority, electrochemistry, half-light, pain threshold. They're the intrusive thinkers of our psyche. It's so funny. Okay, so we got some locusts. Box with locusts. A cardboard box with several rows of little holes in the lid. At first glance, the box seems perfectly ordinary. Upon closer examination, it's obvious it has been prepared with great care. Okay, so we're not quite done with that quest then. The trick is to remember which one it was. Okay. I believe it was the one to the left of the fallen building. So let's do that, and then we'll call it for this episode. Because this has been a nice little narrative loop to close. And maybe there's still more to it, I don't know. That's what we're going to find out. Okay, who's this one?
Morel's trap stands empty, just like the boathouses around it. The wind ruffles your sweaty hair.
Release the locusts.
The locusts, dazed from being transported, slowly begin to acclimate to their new surroundings. They're not really going to get the chance to get comfortable here.
Good. Now that's done. When do you think we will return to our impending apocalypse of a murder investigation?
I swear to God, this is gonna matter. I don't know how. I don't know why. But it's gonna matter, damn it.
Don't answer that. It was a rhetorical question.
What does Rhetoric have to say about that?
He doesn't want to. But if there is one more cryptozoological runaround, he must force the investigation back on track. This better be it.
This is the last time.
All the traps are stopped now, and still no sight of the phasmid. Return to...
Do we maybe have to let him know that we did that? And then we will do the Everclear stuff next episode. Oh, he's gone.
Hello, dear. It's good to see a familiar face.
I restocked the empty trap. Where's Morale?
Thank you for doing that, dear.
Her smile is weary. Her earlier ebullience has left her.
Morel still isn't feeling well. I convinced him to stay at Gary's to get some rest. I'm afraid the cold has really gotten to him.
It's probably for the best. It's awful cold running out there in those reeds.
I'm sorry, dear. You've had to drudge through them so many times. Such is field work. A young person's game, as they say.
So who's going to check the traps? Kuno?
Morel will eventually, or
Oh.
we'll talk Gary into going back out, perhaps.
The lieutenant stares at his shoe, caked in mud. He doesn't say anything.
What did it say? He's going to force us to get back on track? Can we just push it? One more thing. Kim, close your ears. We'll take care of it.
That really is too much, sweetie. Thank you for your dedication, but I can see you're coming down with a cough yourself.
Fuck that cough.
Yeah.
It's not happening. The insides of your lungs are lined with tobacco, a powerful antibacterial agent. You are unstoppable.
That's right.
Very strange. Why is she not letting you do this? It's like she's given up.
All right, it's therapy time. Lena, what's wrong? You seem different.
Different? How?
You've given up on the Phasmid, haven't you?
I'm in doubt, sweetie. That's all. Everyone is now and then.
You're in doubt? About what?
It's a strange feeling. I haven't really told this to anyone, but you are a police officer.
And when a police officer asks, you must answer.
Intrusive. Stop this, authority. This is not a power play sort of thing. We're trying to be empathetic.
Do you ever wonder if some lovely story from your childhood is just that? A story? Or a dream? Seeing the Insulindian Phasmid was just a story I used to tell people. I didn't really think about whether it was real or not.
Lena, it didn't matter if it was real. You know? All of the memories you've had searching for the Phasmid, the enjoyment, the rushes of dopamine from having new leads in the case, the genuine relationship you've developed with Morel, the friendship you've forged with Gary, the insight and changes you've made as a person as a result of this, those are all real things, just connected to this pursuit. and they don't go away just because what you were pursuing has changed, and you've changed as a person, and things I thought I wanted from my life 5 years ago drove me to do things and craft my personality and make certain decisions that have led to meaningful change in me. But 5 years later, I find I no longer want that thing. But having the desire to do it made me who I am and led to the point where I realized I don't need that pursuit anymore. And that's sort of my take on this, is like the changes you experience as a person because of the pursuit are real and tangible and matter. And sometimes they lead to the pursuit being less relevant later on. And maybe that's what she's experiencing right now. It's okay to realize that you want different things as you go through life, basically. And the person that you came as a result of that pursuit is not somehow less than just because the goal has changed. But Morel has told me you'd seen it. You also told me.
Morel's so proud of it. He always tells everyone.
A terrible sting in the heart. Regret.
To arrest you for lying. You seem to really believe it happened. Doesn't that count for something? That's what we're getting at here.
No, sweetie. There's more to it than that. Morel was so eager to believe my story was evidence of the Phasmid's existence, that I'm some queen of the cryptozoologists. That. And for years, his belief made me believe too.
Okay. So, yeah, in a therapeutic environment, maybe even a couple's environment, I would be looking to reframe what Lena is talking about here, that what she's touching on is like, I'm afraid that what Morel loves about me and what's been real about our relationship is only because of this story. And it's like, no, that was the inciting incident. But the things that he likes about you and the relationship you've had, it's not like they suddenly are irrelevant just because the moment he learned about them is somewhat questionable.
That I am a queen, an extraordinary witness to grace.
You are a queen, Lena.
But now, we're both getting old, and he's still working himself sick out in those reeds looking for it. But what if I was just wrong? I think I was.
The lieutenant opens his notebook, but doesn't write anything.
Now would be the time to let that empathy soar out of your heart, Kim.
He's hiding. These things are tough on him. Matters of love, not violence or deceit.
Oh, I'm so glad that we have such high suggestion. Well, and it's exactly what I would want to say. And also as a therapist, right? I've talked about motivational interviewing before as a technique or practice. And what it can sound like is less interpretation from me, more how can I get this person to explore what they're feeling? And a very common example is like motivational interviewing for quitting smoking, right? It'd be very easy for me to sit in front of someone who's smoking and say like, hey, all these things will change if you stop. Your health will get better. You'll save more money. Like I can present the argument, but it comes across as like educating, and it's not personalized. Motivational interviewing is more so, instead of me giving that list of things, I would just say to someone, what do you think would happen if you slowed down? Or what do you think would happen if you stopped? And the person themselves verbalizes, well, I guess I would save some money. Yeah, I guess you would. Like, and how would that change things? Well, maybe I'd, with the money I'd save from smoking, I guess I could get a gym membership. I don't know, just an example. What else would happen if you stopped smoking? Yeah, I guess I would feel like I have better control over my impulses. And suddenly it's them verbalizing a potential outcome for themselves that's personalized to them. And it also comes from within their own frame of reference rather than an outside person. And so talking with someone like Lena in a moment like this, it would also be beneficial when she says things like, but what if I was just wrong? Um, you could ask things like, um, what if there wasn't a phasmid? What would that change about your relationship? And she might be able to explore that from within her own perspective. Um, what will it look like if the two of you stop searching? Right. Rather than me saying trying to top down sort of explain all this stuff. But yes, this is the point that I would also be making, which is that like just because the goal has changed or what you thought you wanted has changed doesn't somehow make the many years you've spent connecting to someone because of this thing irrelevant, right? Your marriage has not been a lie. I'm also glad for the narrative context of this. Here is a moment where Kim, who is usually the one who's calm and collected and composed in matters of the case, is suddenly dysregulated and avoidant, and it's hard for him. Like he wants to sort of detach from this, like opening up his notebook. But this is where like our character shines, the one we've forged, because I've tried to insert that like this is where I feel the most comfortable is, look, I don't know how to solve all the world's problems. But I do think that it's important to know how to connect to people, but also how to get them to connect with themselves in a way that she's not really doing right now. She's losing connection with herself because she's in doubt of the relationship and what meaning it has had. So let's see if we can get Lena to connect to herself again.
An acorn is not the same as the tree. That requires time, diligence, and care.
Wrong or not, your relationship with Morel isn't just about the phasmid. Yeah.
But it is. We've spent years searching for the phasmid, hunting it together. Without it, what are we? Just another pathetic old couple. If I hadn't led him down this path, he could have a steady job lecturing at a university.
Normally when I think about stuff like women and marriage, I feel bad. When I think about you and Morel, I feel okay. That counts for something. I love this. Again, it's not us trying to interpret and explain to her your relationship is better than you think it is. It's like, can I get her to arrive to that conclusion by saying something like this? My personal experience with relationships has been very rough, but when I see yours, it gives me hope that it's possible. And maybe in her own mind, she arrives to the conclusion that, okay, there's something more tangible about that than what our goal was.
Oh, of course it counts for something. But we've had our hard times too.
She looks down at her legs.
I was a paraplegic before we met. He didn't know before I arrived on our first date. If I weren't the queen of the cryptozoologists, if I didn't tell him that story,
He would have never wanted to be with me.
She has to swallow to relax her throat. It's keeping her from talking.
He'd still be into you. That's not how these things work. Or do I say nothing? I'm gonna go with this. That's not how these things work.
maybe. But then why do I not dare tell him? I've wasted enough of your time with this drama. I really must stop talking about it lest I start crying and waste more of your time.
Lena, you could not be more wrong. The closer we get to this, the more fulfilling this whole journey has been for me. And Kim, although he'll never admit it. But if helping these people makes me a more empathetic and understanding person, then that helps us in the case. I've been saying this the whole time. Everything that we do on this journey matters, and all the people that we interact with matter.
What you have to know is the Insul Indian phasmid probably does not exist. Let us fools chase our ghosts. There are a million better things to do with your life.
Thing is, you're not sure you made it up either. Okay, it's a false memory, doesn't mean all cryptids aren't real. I need to get back to my work. This would be discounting the emotional path we've been on, so I don't want to go with that. I'm going to go with this. You're not sure you made it up either. I really want to sort of keep going towards the idea that, like, it doesn't matter. This part doesn't matter, whether or not it's real, because all of the things you've experienced because of it have been real.
I'm not sure of anything. Sometimes I still see it, you know. The real memory. Not the memory of the memory, but it's so hard to tell the two apart.
Well, we can relate to this because our memory is very fractured and muddy and dispossessed. We learn a lot about who we are because of what people have said about us. We learn that we were crude and disruptive from Gart and Klasia and other people. We learned that we were terrifying at a time previous from Titus. We learned that we were depressed and suicidal from Kim when we looked at the motor carriage. Like, we don't even get to make interpretations about who we are based on memory because we've destroyed them. And the emotional resonance we have with memories is important, obviously. It was too hard to keep this stuff in memory, so we tried to destroy it. For Lena, it's wanting to hold on to something that may not even be true, and it's better to let it go, even if it means things have less meaning.
Rising, unfolding from the reeds on a hot summer's day, like a benevolent god.
Thank you, Inland Empire.
Either way, I should go. Poor Morel is running a fever, and I need to get him home to Jamrock before we overstay our welcome with Gary.
I'm still going to check the traps one more time.
Really?
Yes, really.
Oh, sweetie. Please don't get stuck on a dream. Take it from me and Morel.
No one can stop you from finding the phasmid.
That's right. It's not out of the question that it's real. I mean, there's a fucking vortex of black hole memory loss in the sea somewhere. Is it that bizarre to think that there's a fucking creature that's like a little bit bizarre? I mean, go look in the ocean. There's all kinds of creatures that I would say couldn't exist, but actually do. Can I have your address just in case there's news?
Okay, it's 1113 Tabernacle Road, Jamrock, but...
A sigh. She doesn't think you'll need it.
We'll see about that. Are you sure you don't need help getting to Gary's?
Oh no, thank you, but I can get there on my own. This old thing is gas-powered. And then a taxi home. It's not so bad.
The rest of it is pretty grim. Thanks for bringing some light. I think I'm going to go with this. Sorry for blasting her with the flashlight. Because I want to communicate to her that despite her own self-doubts, she's had a real impact on everyone around her. And this is true for people who have a hard time hearing compliments, as it seems like Lena does, especially in this moment. Or not even compliments, but us saying things like, your relationship really matters, and it matters to me because of the fucked up relationship we've had. Like when someone says, "Hey, you did a great job," and it's a lot of people's instinct to say like, "Oh no, you know, that's not what you think. Like, I'm actually terrible at this." Like you're wrong, because their experience of you is true to them. Whether Lena thinks she has a good relationship or not, my experience of her, just from spending time with her, has recontextualized things for us, and that's real to me. It's actually not for her at all to say that we're wrong. And the same goes for this. She's brought some light into this dark world, even if she doesn't think she has. It has actually been real for us, and that's not really hers to deny. It's been real, and I just want to let her know that. Thanks for bringing some up.
You're welcome, sweetie. I'm glad it helped you, even though it turned out to be a
waste of time.
Never.
A dream. Like that, she drives off. The gas engine putters quietly as she gets to the doors, then pushes them open. Outside, the cold coastal wind blows.
We should go to...
Somewhere out there, a kilometer to the southeast, a gust of wind shakes the felled building, rattling dusty windows, beckoning with strange coldness. To ask the wind once more.
It's out there. I know it is. I know it is! The Phasmid! And all our hopes and dreams. What a beautiful story. With not such a clean ending, and that's okay. You know, closure is not always absolute. But I think what's important is that we let someone know in this very challenging world that they mattered to us. And we stuck to that despite Kim constantly trying to pull us off of that case. And I don't blame him for that. There's times where this has felt indulgent, I'm sure, and like a distraction. But it's been important, nonetheless, for ourselves, for Revachol, and I think also for Kim. I also want him to see that there's people worth helping in the world, even if it doesn't end up on the books. And with that, we're going to conclude this episode. Maybe I even split it into two, because it actually worked out to be a much longer resolution than I thought. But either way, next time, we can now do that logic check. And we'll forge our signatures, and we'll check in with Mr. Clare. So, I will see you for all of that